What's up, guys? It's Nathaniel here, and today we will be going over the long-awaited personal investment portfolio. Now, on this channel, I document my wealth journey from a week-to-week basis, but I have yet to discuss what I'm invested in. With that being said, I'm going to go over the 3 investment platforms I use based on how much money I have invested into them, and I will also be kind of discussing what I'm going to use that platform to invest in, and I'm going to discuss my overall long-term goals for said investments. So to get started, I will be talking about the platform I have the most invested into with my capital, and that is Fidelity. On Fidelity, I have a Roth IRA, and that is the account that you are currently seeing. In this account, I have 6 positions, I believe. 7 positions, maybe. I don't know. We'll count them in a second. But I'm going to go over why I'm invested into them, when I bought them, and kind of like what I'm going to do with said position. So to start, we'll start with Crispr Therapeutics at the top, and this is the one that I bought most recently. Crispr Therapeutics is a company that researches genetics and genes to help cure diseases. I bought the first 5 shares at like $98, and it dipped drastically to 80, not drastically, I shouldn't say that, but it dipped to $83, so it lost about $10, and I immediately bought one more share. So it's definitely a hold stock that I have in this account, but I would like to see it improve over the long term, and I'm almost just more excited to see CRISPR as a company and see what they can do in the future. The fact that I hold 6 shares of them is just kind of an added bonus, I guess, and I will probably be investing more into that. I would like to have at least 10 shares of CRISPR by the end of 2022. The next thing I'm invested into on this position is the Fidelity Total Market Index Funds. On this Roth IRA on Fidelity, most of what I'm invested into are index funds. Index funds are a solid way to grow your wealth. If you don't know what index funds are, how they work, I suggest watching a video on it and making sure if that's what you want to do with your investments, if you choose to invest. But I have invested into the FSKAX, which is the Fidelity Total Market Index Fund. Fidelity Total Market Index Fund, I think, is about 3,800 of the US's top companies. I think there's a little more than 3,800, but this index tracks those, and this is my second highest percent returning position in this IRA. It has a 24.65% return, which equates to about $118.70. So you like to see that. Over the year, this account is about a year old, and the index funds are the oldest thing in this account, and they have all performed fantastic over the last year. And that's because the market did very well over the last year, despite the crazy year that 2020 was. Index funds definitely proved to be a solid investment over that period of time, as you can see. And so I'm very excited to put more money into it and see how much more it can grow. And the Total Market Index Fund is just one of those examples, and it performed very well, second best in the position category. The next position is the Fidelity Real Estate Index Fund, or FSNRX, and this is actually the highest percent return in this account. I have not that much money invested into the FSRNX, but it did return $56.34, which is a 32.67% return, which is fantastic. And like I said earlier, the best in my accounts thus far. But yeah, that's very interesting. The housing market was wild, as we all know, last year and continuing today. Millennials are ready to buy a house, and there's just not a lot of houses to buy, I guess. So demand and supply is off, and that is causing housing prices to skyrocket. So the housing market did very well, I guess, this past year, and the Fidelity Real Estate Index Fund shows that. The next position I have is the Fidelity Total International Index Fund, and this is the International Index Fund. So this is the companies overseas that are very, very big. This includes your Samsung, your Alibaba, this includes your Nestle, your Sony, your Neo, probably. And a lot of times the US and the US citizens tend to think that everything revolves around the US, but there are tons of companies overseas that are performing at just absolutely fantastic rates and are doing crazy things for society and the globe. So I think it is worth looking across not just the United States, but other countries as well when you're investing. And the index fund, the Total International Index Fund, kind of gives you a blanket cover of all of those. So I will be investing into this one as well, even though it's my lowest returning position in this out of the index funds in this account, I still think it's great for portfolio diversification. And I also think it is good to invest into foreign companies because the US stock market isn't always guaranteed to be at its peak. I forgot to mention, Crispr is also, I think, a Swedish company, so they technically classify as an international stock as well. So I think out of my portfolio allocation, 33% of my capital is invested into foreign companies. The next position that I will talk about is the FXAIX. This is the Fidelity 500 index fund, and this is the big one in my account. I have the most invested into this position, and it is my third highest returning percentage at 24.16%. Since I have the most invested into it, like I said, it has returned the most money at $157.08, which is great. It performed very well, and these are the top 500 companies in the United States, so I'm sure you'll know all of them. You know, it's your Amazons, your Walmarts, your Teslas, your Apples, all the big names that you know and frequent are covered under this index fund. So I think as long as you think the US business sector is going to improve, this is a great index fund to invest in. The US stock market has always returned eventually, even when crashes happen. So I think overall this is one of the safest ways to grow wealth over time, is just keep investing into a 500 index fund, because these are companies that you know aren't going to struggle anytime soon. The next position that I have is NEO. And NEO is another one of those foreign companies that I think is going to be worth a bunch of money in the future. I don't think it'll be worth a bunch of money. I think it has potential to have a higher ceiling than what we're seeing right now. I don't think electric cars are the solution to sustainability, but I think it'll be the symptom that we choose to plug up for now. And so while that happens, I think investing into NEO is interesting. The last investment I have in the Fidelity Roth IRA is Nova. And Nova, I'm not going to lie, probably will be selling pretty soon and reinvesting into NEO or some other kind of sustainability, because I do think Nova is a great company, but I'm not sure if it's the right one to hold long term. I don't know if it'll ever be that profitable of a company, and I could be wrong, so I might just keep it in this account. But I think they deal a lot with solar panel installation and just solar energy as a whole. And while I do think that is sustainable, I'm not sure how big solar energy will be in terms of our sustainability moving forward. As we know, Joe Biden's infrastructure bill has just passed, and we have seen huge funds allocated to sustainability efforts. I'm not sure how much of that we'll see go into stuff like solar energy. I think most of it's going to be focused on wind energy and other sorts of energy that don't rely on crude oil. I think solar panels are a great thing to put on your home, because I think anytime you can offset, like you can pay a large sum of money up front to reduce your cost down the road, I think that's a great investment. And I think solar panels provide that. But I'm not sure how this could also just become more mainstream and more common, which would make Nova a great company to invest in. So there is upside to Nova, but I'm just not sure how much I feel like we might skip over the entire solar panel wave, if I'm being honest, as a society. That's just kind of me speculating. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't listen to me on invest. That's just my thoughts and feelings on investing. And so don't take any of that with a grain of salt if you're trying to make a decision on whether to buy Nova or not. That's just kind of what I feel like. But moving on, that is my positions in my Roth IRA. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions in this account. I would like to have more, but I also think that I need to spread the wealth within what I have right now first. So we will see, but I definitely think this is a good start and a good base. And now I will be moving on to my crypto account on Gemini. So Gemini is very new to me. I just recently picked it up. I think it's less than a month. This account is less than a month old on Gemini. I've invested $723.89 into Ethereum and $200 into Bitcoin. So I have a very low amount of funds invested. As you can see, my portfolio is only worth $987.17. I'm pretty sure my latest transaction of Ethereum, which was $123.89, hasn't even cleared yet, so it's technically not even bought, but it'll count for now. But yeah, So, like I said, very new in the crypto game, but I think Ethereum and Bitcoin and all other cryptocurrency will become more mainstream, and as that happens, the value will go up. I think there's been plenty of talks about an EFT for cryptocurrency and all these things that could make the price skyrocket. But I think overall, cryptocurrency will become more mainstream and we'll see it used for a lot of things. I think Ethereum returns a little better than Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin just looks flashier, but I do think Ethereum will serve more practical use as a service to the society and to the public in the future. So that's kind of the one I've chose to invest into. That's not to say that you shouldn't invest into Bitcoin, but I think Ethereum does prove maybe a little better in terms of returns. And I also think, like I said, as a service, it'll serve the public better in the long run. So that's my crypto account kind of. My Robinhood portfolio, as you will see, has a bit of crypto in it as well, but not so much. But yeah, those are, like I said, this is a very new account for me. Gemini is less than a month old. I only have a little less than $1,000 invested into it. So I plan on investing here pretty soon more into Ethereum and Bitcoin. I invested $123 more into Ethereum today. So every week we should be putting money into some kind of platform somewhere along the line. So I'm excited to see what cryptocurrency has in store for the future. And the final platform that I use is Robinhood. It's also the one I have the least amount of money invested into, but it does hold the individual stock that has the highest return I've ever had in terms of investments, and that is Dogecoin. I had a Sprint stock, and I got that through being recommended through a friend to use Robinhood. We both got the free stock. Mine happened to be Sprint. Sprint merged with T-Mobile, and when that happened, I think Robinhood ended up just giving me what the stock was worth back in terms of like just money to reinvest. And so I was like, damn, I don't even know what to reinvest in. I don't use Robinhood anymore. I'm just going to invest into Dogecoin, which was at the time gaining some buzz. It was still very, very cheap, but it was gaining some buzz. And so I bought it, and it ended up being the highest returning stock I've ever purchased in my life. And it returned 224%. I think I put in $27, gained $117, so it did very well. That being said, I don't think I will be using Robinhood anymore to invest not only in Dogecoin, but just at all. I think it's a great starting platform, and I think it gets younger people and people of all experiences and ages it gets them into investing, and I think it's a very easy platform to pick up. It's very user friendly. It's very visual, which I think serves well for most people. I know investing can be scary, and it was very disheartening for me at the beginning, not knowing where my money was technically going or like where it was or like what it even meant when I purchased a stock. So I think Robinhood does do some decent user-friendly interface work in order to kind of alleviate that stress. So I do say Robinhood gives the beginner a good chance to get their feet wet and get interested in investing, which I think is good. Obviously, they've had problems with the GameStop thing earlier this year. That being said, at the end of the day, I think Robinhood, for people who are safely using it, is a good investment platform to get started on, and it's overall just a fine investment platform to use. I think if you have all your money put into Robinhood, that's just as fine as having all your money put into a different, platform to use. But I probably will not be using Robinhood in the future, but I like to include it because it does hold $200 or so worth of investments at any given time. So overall, those are my investments on my investment platforms. I have a goal of just holding most of the investments that I have. I want to see the growth over long term. I will be holding these for 5, 10 plus years. I don't see myself selling at any time soon any of these positions. I only see myself adding more and more into each position that I own and adding more positions overall. So that is my investment portfolio video. This one's probably pretty lengthy and pretty long. I will try to edit it and cut out most of the fat, but I think this is a good video to show you guys what I'm invested in because that is a complete row and column of my of my Excel spreadsheet for my wealth. So this is kind of what the wealth entails. And at this point, on 11/18/2021, I have $3,419.15 of my capital invested across 3 platforms. So with that being said, we will track that and we will see where that goes, and hopefully it goes up and not down. But if it does go down, we will invest more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that's kind of a peek into all my investments and how much money I've put into my investments and why I'm invested in what I've invested in. If you like this video, we will be posting more videos about investing probably weekly, if not bi-weekly, so stick around for those. And I hope you enjoyed watching, and have a good one.